everybody, Johnny O from the Plot Hole here, and we are going to have some fun, talk about a bit of a serious topic. I have an awesome panel with me today. Please, if you wish to ask questions of myself or the panel, super chats are nice, but again, at the Plot Hole, and I'll get to as many of those as possible. Free channel, let's have some fun, and let's talk about a serious subject. So first, I would like to introduce our first panelist. Let me get all in one sec. We have the reason why we are here. There we go. So the reason why we're here.
Hey guys, how's it going today?
Skydiver, tell us a little about yourself and why we're here.
Well, let's see. So, I like to skydive, hence Skydiver Tanner. I am a iFly wind tunnel instructor, teach people how to body flight inside the wind tunnel. And so that alone kind of brings up a little bit of this topic tonight. And then growing up, getting picked on for many different things. And so I've noticed kind of like trends going on lately, and especially with the pandemic stuff and people kind of cutting themselves down. I know I've done it to myself as well, and did a little bit of field reporting. And so I brought up a topic that I thought was kind of important for everyone to hear about.
All right. A little bit of field reporting is an understatement.
Needed to expose some things.
Expose some things you did. All right. And joining us with some of the female perspective, I hope that's appropriate, we've got the Raven from the Raven and the Wolf podcast. Say hello, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm the Raven. I'm part of the Nerd Angle and Wolf and the Raven podcast. I'm a nursing student. I also have body image issues. It started when I was very, very young. I was only just about 7, 8 years old when I remember first having a lot of anxiety over my body. It stemmed a lot from sexual assault and some messed up stuff from my family, but I'm doing a lot better today, and I'd like to share about that with you guys a little bit later when we start really getting into the debating and everything.
Oh, absolutely. I hope to keep this not necessarily a debate, more of a discussion, but absolutely, because I think we're all in agreement that there is a problem with body image issues. Joining us also from the other side, we have got the awesome AngelGamer. And
hi.
She's going to tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm AngelGamer. I'm from Minnesota, and I'm almost 35. I've been overweight most of my life, and I didn't realize it until I was maybe, 6, 7 years old when people started treating me different. So I've had body image issues most of my life. Later in life, I discovered that I have a pituitary tumor, and that has maybe been the cause of some of my issues. And it's been hard to deal with, both medically and emotionally. So I can talk more about that later when we get into some stuff too.
Sure, absolutely. All right. Boom, and there's the amazing panel. So let's kind of kick this off. We're going to start with you, Skydiver. You are the reason why we're here. So I have got to say, having you do special reports for the Plot Hole has probably been one of the few highlights of doing that show. Your reports are amazing. The first one you did with PhD Tony and Jessica G, that was great. That was just pure class.
Right.
and then of course this most recent one that appeared yesterday was a very humorous way to speak about a very serious subject. So I think it hit harder than it normally would if you just came in and said, "Hey, look, guys, body image is an issue, and we need to talk about it." So yeah, let's kind of get the reason. I want to kind of get into the reason why this is such an issue for you.
Well,
because you're strapping. Look at you. You're out of all the people on this panel, I would say that most people would look at you and say, "Why does this guy have body image issues?"
Right, you know, and I've heard people say that before, and you know, first I want to say thank you for one even letting me be able to do some stuff. You know, I hit you up the one day and say, hey, I got something, can I put it on? And you allowed it, so thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. But you know, people see me now, and there's a lot of things, like a lot of stuff stems from our childhood or younger years and growing up in adolescence. And for me, you know, I'm not saying women don't have this part, but for guys, it's either you're too skinny and too small, or you're too husky and too big. It's on one end, and I just happen to be the 6 foot, 150 pound scrawny guy that got picked on all the time because I didn't have the muscles. I didn't have, you know, like everything looked like I was swimming in it. You know, I'd get picked on for being weak, and I would get called names and shoved into lockers because of it. And you know, before I even came to terms with myself or even realized that I was bisexual, I didn't think of guys in that way really at all. I found them attractive, but then, you know, I'd get pushed in a locker and be called gay just because I was scrawny. And, you know, and then I would have friends who were on the huskier side having the same thing done with them. And there's times where we kind of talk a little bit, not much, because I feel like guys don't talk about it as prevalently. In the gay community more so. They definitely will talk with each other about it all, and being a part of it and hearing what some guys say. And then if you have straight friends, the straight guys then start to open up and bring things about how they feel they're too skinny or they're too large or something like that. I want better muscles, or I would like a better six pack, or I wish I didn't have this here. And there's things with me that, you know, I've always kind of cut down on myself. There's multiple things that I dislike about myself, but I've learned to be okay with them, and I've learned to take compliments when compliments are given, even though I still internally struggle sometimes. And it's like I try to push it aside, but it's still there, you know. And for people who struggle with body image issues, it's always going to be there. No matter what someone tells you, you're still going to think that inside. And I, for one, would never do anything like I would never do a plastic surgery. I would never try to change myself in any way, because also the way I look at it is, you know, there's how many billions of people on this planet, and we're all individually unique. So if I feel like, you know, one of the things I feel with myself is that my nose is too big. I don't like my nose. I hate my nose, but yet it's who I am. It's who makes me me. And so I've learned to live with it. I make fun of it all the time. But it's, you know, it's still something that's there, along with many other issues. And then when I started working at iFly, unfortunately, one of the things with my job is you have to size people up to put them into a flight suit. And as you start to do that, you know, especially with the larger people, there's times it breaks my heart a little bit, because you can't escape it. You have to put them in a certain suit. And I had one lady that I had to pull aside because you could see her starting to tear up because she saw the suit that I grabbed, and she saw where it was located, because we based it all off on size. And, you know, I told her not to worry about it. I'm like, don't think of this. Like, you're going to go in there. You came here to have fun. We're going in there to have fun. Just because everyone's wearing a red suit or something like that, and someone else is wearing a gray suit, and you're the only one with this color suit, it doesn't mean anything. And having to sit and talk with people like that kind of opened my eyes up to my own self on how, you know, I cut myself down, or I bring things down. And then you take that person into the wind tunnel, and you can have the 25-year-old jock guy who's got all the muscles on him, you know, built like how you would think a god should look, and he goes in the wind tunnel and he flies horribly, doesn't know how to control himself whatsoever. And then you get that lady who is almost in tears because of the size of the suit that she was putting on, and she goes in and she flies fantastically. She does the best out of everyone in the group. And so it was those things that, like, working there really shone, like put a bigger light on my own self-image with certain things and on the image of other people. Like one of my best students in there, he holds himself back because he's a large guy. And when I teach him something, first he thinks he can't do it because of his size, but then when he attempts it, he gets it on the first time. And that's very rare for people of all sizes to do that. And then the reverse, same with the really scrawny guys. You know, you get a really tall, skinny guy, and he has to get put into a certain suit because, like, our taller suits are also really baggy. So then his friends make fun of him because he looks really baggy on it. And you're in the wind tunnel and you see the wind speed, and they're laughing at him because look how low the wind is. Well, the wind is lower because his suit is really baggy. It's catching more air. And so then you hear them making fun of him because he's scrawny and the wind was so low, ha ha ha. Look, a little bit of wind's going to blow you away. And it really started bothering me with the fact that I had to take people aside and talk to them to get them to overcome issues with themselves, to realize, like, you can do this. You can still, you know, be amazing in there. And that's the one thing I loved about working at the wind tunnel, is because it gets people of all shapes and sizes and all different backgrounds to realize that in there, size does not matter.
So that's interesting that, you know, hearing your perspective on all that, because you have kind of you have a dual perspective of seeing it in action and then feeling it on the inside yourself, which is something that's interesting, that I think that men especially, I don't want to make this like a man versus woman type thing, but I do think there is a difference, right? Women, it's definitely there. It's prevalent. It's something that, you know, when you pick up a magazine, it's got a beautiful model on it, you know, that whole unobtainable expectation of what beauty is. And that is just really thrown into women's faces constantly over and over and over again. And that's a really important issue that needs to be discussed. And we need to figure that one out, because that is not fair to women to have that expectation, right? You look at a guy like me, right? I'm overweight. I'm not considered, you know, oh, hideously ugly and this, that, and the other. It's, oh, you got a dad bod. We like make excuses for men who have, quote, dad bods. Whereas women, if you put on a little bit of weight, oh, you let yourself go. That double standard there. Now, Raven, you've got a daughter, correct? You've got children?
I do, yes.
So you've kind of experienced that. I'm sure that there's been some sort of, quote, backlash, at least maybe something that you feel or something that you think has been put on you by other people.
I mean, yes, absolutely. I mean, the whole time that I was carrying my daughter, so I do have body dysmorphic disorder, and I do have issues with that. So that's part of this. So when I was carrying my daughter, I actually put myself on an extremely restrictive diet and worked myself silly because I was so worried about putting on so much weight. I didn't gain any weight until I was 7 months pregnant, and I put on 40 pounds in the last 2 months because I couldn't keep doing it. I was hurting myself, and she was okay, and I was very lucky for that, but I wasn't managing myself at all. And after I had her, just only the 6 weeks after I had her, my doctor said, you need to work harder to lose the weight right now. And it just tore me apart. It just absolutely did. So there was a lot to do with pregnancy. And I don't think anyone should have a say about your body, especially right after you have a child, because it takes you 9 months to put it on, and it takes you a hell of a lot longer than that to take it off. 2 years, they say, to get yourself back to a physical state as you were before pregnancy, for your body to fully heal. So if it takes 2 years to fully heal, then it should take at least that long to get back to what you would call normal, or your normal.
And I feel like that's a really shitty thing for somebody to do, especially with somebody who just had a baby. Hormones are, you know, out of like the whole postpartum issues going on, and then to hear the doctor say, hey, you know, get on that treadmill, you fatty. I'm sure that had to have some sort of just demoralizing effect. And that's crazy. Why would I don't get it? I don't understand. I'll never understand doctors. Either they're too harsh, they're too separated. You know, they have to have this. Well, hey, I'm just here reading off a thing, or whatever. Or they're too. I don't know. I don't know. Doctors and me, we don't get along.
Me either. She wasn't my doctor for very much longer after that. I think I saw her one more time because I absolutely had to, and then I found somebody else because hell no.
Yeah, that's not cool. Now, AngelGamer, you've got a completely different experience having that. What was it again? I didn't write it down. You have
I have a pituitary adenoma, and it's a prolactinoma and a cortisol stimulating. So when I was about 12 years old, this is going to be too much information for a lot of people, but I started lactating for no reason. And it was a strange, long process to find out what was causing that. And my doctors kept, doing pregnancy tests, and I felt like they wanted to do lie detector tests because they kept, kept asking me if I was pregnant. And I was like, no, it's not possible. Just no, stop. And, changing medications around, things like that. And then finally they did a brain scan when I was, let's see, it was in 2016, and they found the pituitary mass. And then they do genetic testing and things like that to see what hormones it's stimulating. And they found that it was stimulating cortisol and prolactin. And so that's, what's been causing certain weight issues. Now, I'm not saying that it's not, from diet and lack of exercise and things like that either, because that's probably part of it too. I'm on disability. I'm not able to work anymore. Medical care isn't easy to get, especially now that I don't have a job. I'm on Medicare, but our Medicare system doesn't pay for, everything that a person needs. Yeah. I mean, it's, they take 20% off and you're responsible for everything else, basically. Anything that, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Seek Truth. There's one thing, about this Medicare for all stuff that they're talking about, and it's, I'm on Medicare, and it scares me in a way because I can't get any extra help from that too. Beyond that, disability is limited, and right now living with my, thank you, everybody. Right now living with my parents, I'm okay. I can make it on what I get, and it's okay. But it is frustrating, not being able to live on my own. And I have a car, I drive, I can do things myself. But I'm 35. I would like to be on my own, and without proper medical care, without proper insurance, it just makes it really hard. At one point I was over 600 pounds, and I'm not anymore. I have made changes that have gotten me down from that, because I knew that I didn't want to be on TV. I didn't want to be on a TLC special, and I didn't want that to be like the only method for me being able to change, and you hit a plateau at some point, though, where nothing else is working, and that's kind of where I'm at now. in order to remove the pituitary mass, they have to go in through your nose and do a brain surgery. And its risk is probably more than what the benefits would be right now. So there is a medication that they want to try for it, but it's $1,400 a month if you're not diabetic. And I'm not diabetic. So, you know, it's a diabetes medicine, but they can't prescribe it to you unless your A1C is at a certain level. And it's just a lot of bureaucratic stuff. And I can only see the endocrinologist once a year. And, you know, but, you know, as far as the body image stuff, you know, like I said, when I was young, I didn't know that I was any different from anyone else until people started pointing it out. You know, gym teachers, things like that. Other kids started teasing me. Doctors, you know, I remember being 5 or 6 years old and the doctor telling me that, oh, I'm way too big. I'm way too fat and I need to lose weight. And, you know, and if we look at it now, it wasn't even that bad, you know. And some of that stuff just makes it worse, you know. And then you know, your parents start hiding food and things like that and limiting things, and that makes it worse too. You know, it's just, it's hard to deal with.
Right. Yeah. And I got to say that, you know, dealing with, I mean, I would say a legitimate, an actual medical issue,
Yeah.
you know, that you get those folks that they can't see that. They just see, oh, well, look at you, you know, you must be a lazy slob or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's part of that body image thing, that we see somebody who's, quote, overweight or who looks what they think of unhealthy. And they're not wrong. There is a health issue there, but that's not what they're seeing. They're seeing, oh, well, you're overweight, so you are, you know, slovenly and this and that shit has to stop.
And that's one problem I have with people making fat jokes, you know, is, you know, you don't know what their situation is and what's caused it, you know. And, you know, even if it's a really shitty person, make fun of them for being a shitty person, but don't make fun of their body, you know.
That was one of the things that I did kind of right away with, you know, not to call them out with Team's Wednesday night stream that will go down in infamy. Using some language to describe someone's body, and I was like, that you know, that's out of bounds. You know, like, make fun of for being stupid or whatever if that's what it is, but don't go after someone's body. And I think with today's day and age, for both, you know, I haven't looked 100% at all the statistics, but you know, at least on the men's side, it is on the rise, and I blame a lot of social media for it as well. You know, you look at back in the day, it was magazines and stuff like that. You look at that and you see what now, you know, you get people from everywhere who aren't the quote unquote model, and they're posting stuff online. They're posting the selfies and stuff. And the people who get all the likes all the time are the people who are the ones that you would have in your head, that ideal looking person. You know, the guys who have that, I can't think of someone who would be good now, but, you know, back 12, 15 years ago, the Justin Bieber look, you know, oh, that's what's cute and that's what's good. And so everyone tried to go for that look. And then with women, maybe, you know, I'm dating myself because I don't know who's all popular now, but Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera type thing. And as social media has gotten more prevalent and the selfie thing and whatnot, and you got someone who takes a selfie of themselves and their best friend who might look a little bit better or has that ideal look, that person gets, you know, 1,000 likes, while the person there is getting 10 likes, and then it's a downward spiral. Well, we got the same group of friends. Why did he get 1,000 likes, and why did I only get 10 likes? Yeah. And so the social media thing, I think, has played a huge role in it as well. And like you said, people not understanding that people have medical conditions. Some people, you know, on the side of guys, some guys just can't gain weight. And I know that's one thing they get picked on. On the other side, some people can't lose weight. It's a medical thing that just can't happen. That was the thing, is I ate so unhealthy as a kid. I still kind of do to this day, because I was trying to gain weight. I was trying to put it on. I was trying to get it somewhere. I would work out left and right, and before my dad passed away, I spent 2 months working my ass off to try to get some kind of muscle gain. And it took me 2 months just to gain 10 pounds in muscle, taking protein shakes, taking all these, other things, eating carbs left and right to help out. And my dad got sick. And for 2 weeks, I wasn't doing my workouts and I wasn't doing my stuff. I'll admit, I didn't eat much because I was stressed. Obviously, my dad wasn't doing well. Once he passed away, like after that 2 weeks of not doing my strict plan that I was doing, I lost all that weight plus 5 pounds. Mm-hmm. So I worked my butt off for 2 months only to lose it all in 2 weeks. And so then that was another head game thing that was going on. Yeah. And I can imagine it's the same for people, because I've never had a overweight issue, but I can imagine it'd be the same thing. You go on the diet, you see the weight starting to come off, you hit that plateau, it stops, and then you start to gain the weight again. So it's not sometimes it's not that people aren't trying or aren't trying to work towards it, and trying to be healthy. Sometimes they're doing it strictly because, yes, unfortunately, because of the way society is peering at them, and they hit that plateau, and then next thing you know, it goes uncontrolled. They can't do anything about it. The weight just comes back, or they just lose the weight again of what they worked so hard for. And that's the other thing that's really frustrating, when people try to tell others, well, why don't you gain weight? Why don't you lose weight? And it's like, do you think I didn't try? Do you think there wasn't something there that I didn't try that already? Society's already been saying this to me forever. Do you think you are new to telling me this?
Mm-hmm. And see, and the George said brings up a very important piece of this puzzle as well. Where right now we've been focusing on the weight portions of it, but there are a lot of things that are uncontrollable, like facial hair, complexion, hair type, all that stuff. That's cosmetic adjustment has got to be one of the biggest industries in this probably world.
Yeah.
People who, like for me, I can't grow hair here. I can't grow, full beard. I can't grow a full beard in, but look, my beard is still majestic.
So that's actually a huge part of body dysmorphia, is that people seek out and get lots of cosmetic surgery or cosmetic alterations. They'll cake on makeup. They'll get hair implants. They will do whatever they have to do. And it can be excessive, like those people that you see that get so many cosmetic procedures that it's just ridiculous. That's a form of body dysmorphia. It's a way for them to control how they look and try and perfect themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of like what I was saying earlier, was like, there's many things I dislike about myself aside from, my physical size. And I don't want to point them all out here or anything else like that, but there's a lot of things, like I said, where I'd want to change it on me. There's a lot of things I don't like. And there's days where it's good, where I'm okay with it. And then there's other days where I'm absolutely bothered by it. Like, one thing I already said is, I did say my nose was one thing I didn't like. I have terrible allergies. And this time in Minnesota right now, the pollens are god awful, and my allergies are all year round. Like, when I got the allergy test, they're like, "This is what you're allergic to." They circled the whole entire page. And
me too.
Me three.
So it's some days I'm okay, and then other days when my sinuses are kicking in, I'm blowing my nose, and then it makes me think of it more, and then I'm like, this is probably why my nose is so big, or why I think my nose is so big, is because I'm always blowing it, so I'm always agitating it, and not to be overly gross, but then you get the ones that are stuck up there, so then I can stick my finger up there, and I'm like, well, my nose is big because I can stick my finger up there, or maybe my nose is big because I have to stick my finger up there in order to get those ones that won't come out. So it's just one of the things that it's like you start to get away from it, but something brings you back and brings that focus back into it. And it's something you just can't escape. And no matter what people say to you about it, no matter how many times someone will tell you something looks good on you, you just don't believe it. because you see yourself every day, and it's hard to get past that. It's hard to be okay with yourself, even though you're okay with yourself.
So I get those same feelings. People compliment me. They'll say I'm sexy, hot, beautiful, and I appreciate the compliment, but every time they do it, it just makes me feel a little bit like an imposter, because I don't feel that way about myself. I look in the mirror and I don't see what you see. I see a totally different kind of person. And, you know, my story is a little bit different from you guys's. I've had some different experiences. I don't have a physical condition causing something. I don't have, you know, just some kids picking on me. I don't have, it's just a very different experience from my end.
It's an important
point
end,
of it,
right?
though.
Yeah,
Right.
because it affects so many different people in so many different ways. So sharing your story, sharing your reasons. I mean, let's give some people who maybe don't have the health issue that others have, or don't have, you know, whatever. It's important. It really is. So, like I said, share away, because that's why we're here. We want to kind of see what we can do to help folks deal with what's going on.
So I've spoken a little about it before in kind of a public setting, but maybe not as frank. But so it started very, very young for me. I was only about 7 or 8 years old, and I was sexually assaulted for the very first time in my life. And unfortunately, it wasn't the only time. But the thing that stuck out the most to me is that he said to me that I was his little chubby girl, and that bothered me to no end. It's been 20 years and it still bothers me every day. But I turned to food after that. I ate and I ate and I ate and I ate, and I didn't stop until I was about 10. My mom started commenting on my weight, saying that I was overweight, that I was chubby, that I was fat, that people were going to make fun of me. And then at 11, she started having me step on the scale with her every single day. My mom has anorexia. She's struggled with it as long as I can remember. She's often been described as having appearing as a skeleton with skin. That's kind of how I always saw her when I was a kid. But every day she would make me stand on the scale, and she'd look at my weight, and then she would make me step off, and she'd get on the scale. And every day I would weigh more than her. And I was only 11 years old. When I was about 12, she started taking plates away. She started taking my plates of food. My sister started to join in. And at that point, they had me stand on the scale, and then they would stand on the scale together, and I would weigh more than them together, because both my mother and my sister had anorexia at this point. After that, my dad kind of got in on it too. He started something for the family. It was called the Weight Wars. And I know that this was motivated by me, because I was the one that was overweight, but my mom and my sister each respectively only weighed 90 pounds. I remember the day that the scale tipped 90 pounds, because it was the same day that the Weight Wars started. My dad wrote on a whiteboard in the kitchen that he would give $300 to the winner, whoever lost the most weight. And I decided that day that I was going to participate. And I did. And I won. And I gained myself being the third person in my family with anorexia. I stopped eating. I ate only when I was about to pass out, or did often pass out. And my mom taught me how to not eat, how to sate the hunger when I was that hungry, when it started to hurt. It's caused a lifetime of problems for me. I still struggle to eat often, almost every day. I still struggle to look in the mirror. I still struggle with every name I've ever been called. And I'm lucky enough now to have John, who helps me out, and the Nerd Angle, who helps me out. And he reminds me, I eat every day, every single day. And it's been amazing. I mean, I feel so much better, and I know that I feel better, but it doesn't stop that every time I look in the mirror, I see a little bit of a monster because of what's happened in my life. And it's really hard. It's hard to take a compliment. Every time I get one, I feel wrong. I don't feel like it's true at all. And it honestly, most of the time, just kind of makes me feel worse when it's from a stranger. I get a moment of that good feeling, and then I overthink it absolutely every single time. I only really take compliments from one person, and, you know, that's my husband. So I'm lucky to have him.
I was gonna say that's the thing too, is compliments, they're nice, but when you're already are looking down on yourself in the moment, you might feel good, but then you start to justify in yourself, oh, they're just saying that, or that they're just trying to be nice. You end up, it feels good in the moment, and then you brush it aside. And it's something I've always done. People can say things over and over and over, and it's like they say it, and it's like, oh, thank you, feel good for 5 seconds, and then it's almost like it didn't even exist, because you start to come up with excuses or reasons in your head as to why they may have given you the compliment. At least in my view, for me personally, is, oh, they're just saying that. I know that this is wrong with me, or I know that this doesn't look good. And it's hard. It's hard to break.
Well, there's also kind of like a small aspect where delusions play in. So for a lot of people, they imagine scenarios in their head. Like, you'll hear people laughing, and in your head, you're like, they're laughing at me. They're laughing because I'm ugly. They're laughing because I'm fat. They're laughing because I have rolls. They're whatever it is that bothers you, that they're laughing at me for that. You imagine in your head, you have this delusion that people are paying far more attention to you than they really are.
Right.
They're probably just overlooking you. But
it's that anxiety, that just paranoid almost,
This is one of the reasons why this topic is, I'm glad that I'm glad you brought this topic up. So Sabercat TV says, that's why I started wearing hoodies more often, not only because they are comfy and the choir room is freezing, but to hide how skinny I am. For those of you who don't know, Sabercat TV is my daughter. And when I see stuff like this, I feel like a failure as a parent, because she's worried about how she looks.
It's not your fault.
Right.
She's the most beautiful little girl.
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
Well, you already had me going earlier,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So.
But
people are so mean,
That's the thing, though, too, is it goes both ways. It's an either too skinny or a too large thing. There is no perfect body there, other than the very few people that you see in the magazines and stuff like that.
They're not even real.
Right.
They're not even real.
Right. And she's going through the same thing that I was going through, was the fact of getting picked on all the time. Too skinny, you're all bone and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to take away from people who have been larger in life, but I need people to know that it's a both sides thing, and it sucks.
It's definitely a double-edged sword, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum.
Right.
I, as just a little girl, outweighed two adult people in my life. And so I used to bind myself. I used to buy and use ace bandages and literally bind my body to look smaller. I used to wear Spanx that I took from my mom, who was way skinnier than me, and wear them too small, and use the ace bandages to smooth the curves. And then as I got older, people started telling me, you're too skinny. You need to eat a cheeseburger. You're bony. I can see your ribs. I can see your hips. I can all that, you have protruding bones, and it's the other side. You're too skinny. You're too small. And then even when you're that small, people are still calling you fat. So it just.
Well, and then the other thing too is, okay, so then, you know, I'll say something that I feel weird about, but we're being open and honest here, is, you know, it's the best I felt was when I was working at iFly. For once, aside from like small, stupid things that I'd maybe want to change about my appearance, for once I felt like my body was where I wanted it to be. For my height, for my weight, I was like, I think I'm there. I would still complain about my forearms. I thought they were too scrawny. Same with like my lower legs. But everywhere else I thought was fine. Then the pandemic hit, and I haven't been working for 14 months now, and my job is my workout program. I hate working out. I don't like lifting weights. I don't like that. I've never wanted to do that. I forced myself to, like I said long ago before my dad passed. It's just not me, and it's something I could do to help myself. But my jobs have always, as an adult, my jobs have always kind of kept me feeling okay about my body. And then when the pandemic hit, sitting here, like, you wouldn't think it, but I've gained 30 pounds since all this, and I see it. I see where it's at. I tell people, I know by no means am I fat by it in any way. I know that, but because I see parts of my body that aren't how I want it to look, or aren't the way they were looking when I was working, and felt like I actually kind of had the look I wanted, I've been very down on myself. You know, sitting around in depression a lot. One thing that this community helped out a lot, because September hit last year, and that's when I kind of came into this community. And I was going outside a little bit more. I was launching rockets, going on bike rides with Chase, and we were doing some hiking. And then September hit, and the weather like pretty much instantly changed. It was cold. It was cloudy. Couldn't go flying drones. Couldn't go hiking. Couldn't do anything like that. And so I was just sitting here, and I had already gained the weight. So I'm looking at my body, seeing it as I don't have the muscles, you know, in my stomach anymore. Now it's chubby, and my arms are getting scrawny again from what I would like. And so I was getting into a bad depression. And then when I came across this community and how friendly everyone was, it really kind of did save me a little bit, because I was in a bad place. I was in a bad spiral of just, what am I going to do? I'm sitting at home. I'm not working. There's nothing to do. I can't go outside anymore. I can't do this. I don't like the way my body looks. I don't like that I've gained this weight, you know, around my waistline and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't claim myself to be overweight, but it's still something I see on myself, and something that I don't like. And so some people look at me and they're like, but you're fine. And it's like, but not to me. To me, I'm not.
You know, that's another part of that, right? So because people look at you, Skydiver Tanner, you are, I mean, let's be honest. You're a relatively handsome young man. But the things that we deal with internally, like the things that people don't see.
Right.
And they look at you and say, well, why do you feel this way? Look at you. You're thin, you're handsome. Or the Raven, why you have body issues? Because you're beautiful and you're young, and it's like you get people that downplay how these things affect us. Like just because we're one thing, just because someone else sees us as, well, you're a handsome fella, you're a beautiful woman. Why are you guys feeling bad? Get over yourselves. No,
right.
that's yes. If we could get over ourselves, we wouldn't have these issues.
If only it was that easy.
If only it were that easy.
Right. Well, and then, so in the video that I did for you, the last scene, I almost didn't do, the shirtless scene, the close up and the zoom out, because the fact that like I don't like my abdomen. Like I said, I felt like I was in good shape, not so much anymore. That even when I did that scene, I pulled the bed sheets up a certain way. So you don't notice some things. I had it a certain way, but I also was like, I got to practice what I preach. If we're saying to look at your body, to be comfortable in your skin, and it was for humor. In my head, it was funny, but I almost didn't do it because I was like, I didn't want to expose that part, but I knew it would be funny. And I was like, but I got to do it because I can't say all this stuff about how we need to be comfortable with ourselves and then not do this bit that's funny to be like, hey, you know, like, oh God, he's naked, you know, shock value type thing. And so it's like, as uncomfortable as I felt with it, I still did it. And I'm glad I did, because I've gotten good responses from the laughter part and the humor part of it. But at the same time, like I said, hopefully it will show other people like, it's okay. You know, they're just bodies. Like, we live with ourselves our entire life. You might as well learn to love yourself, because you can't separate yourself. You know?
Yeah.
This is an interesting portion of that, because I feel like this plays right into body positivity, right? Talking about not downplaying our, you know, saying I'm stupid or I'm just an idiot. Self-respect is, there's so many different angles to it. I feel like they both go hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in the side chat are bringing up the fact that it's drilled. Body image issues are drilled into our heads every day. We see it every day, right? We can't get away from it.
Well, yeah, there was that thing in the media a couple months ago with one of the Kardashians where an unretouched photo was published to the internet, and she threatened to sue everybody that published it because she didn't get a chance to retouch it. And, you know, she blamed it on her own body image, which I get, you know, maybe she didn't like the way she looked and stuff, but not everybody has the money to have all of their photos retouched and perfected before they're published and put on the internet. And when you're a model, a celebrity, I think it really sends a terrible message when all of your photos on the internet are fake, you know?
Yeah.
Irish Demon for $7.99 Aussie says, gotta bounce, have to get an ECG now at long last. Love you guys. We appreciate you sharing and show people they're not alone. Absolutely. Irish, you get through that as best you can. Those are always fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's one thing there. It is kind of nice to see some ad campaigns starting to be a little bit more inclusive as far as body types. You know, there has been some underwear shoots out there where, you know, they're involving plus size women a lot more. And it's nice to see there's not enough of it. So the companies that are trying to do that, I hope that they're trying to do that to actually start showing body positivity rather than just trying to make a buck, which, let's be honest, it's probably, you know, both, maybe a little bit more of trying to make the buck than anything.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see that they're starting to use body positivity in certain things. Guys, it like you said, Johnny, you know, they kind of explain things like, oh, it's a dad bod. It's a dad bod, but we all know what it means. And usually, you know, if you see a movie or something like that and they want to get a point across that the guy's gross and ugly, it's usually someone who's hairy and large. And why? Why does the hairy large guy have to be the gross guy? You know,
or the comic relief,
right?
Same thing. The same thing. Like you look at Melissa McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's unattractive at all. I think she's very beautiful,
and she's actually a great actress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah, she really is. She's very talented, but they don't put her in the general romantic roles.
They just stick her in a comedy slot.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Look at the what was it? Bridesmaids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. She was the funny sidekick, you know, that came in, and granted, she was fucking hilarious.
Right.
But
they also cast her as kind of like the plain Jane as well, you know.
Right.
And the opposite, Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover, you know, the big beardy guy, schlubby kind of, who's the
right.
Yeah.
And Zach Galifianakis he's another one of those. He's fantastically talented. Watching him in Birdman, my goodness. playing that straight, not to be straight, I mean serious role. You know, when we're used to seeing him in these really goofy kind of what was that? Like the Between the Two Ferns type roles.
Yeah.
You know? Funny as shit, but seeing him play a serious role, that, you know, like I said, the guy's got talent. I just, you know.
Yeah.
And two there, see, so if you take a look at that, if you take a look at the entertainment industry, it is, when's the last time you saw Meg Ryan in something?
Yeah.
There you go. Right? Tom Cruise is, you know, they're going to do
7 days, 7 nights.
There he is. Yeah. But if you
where'd it come from?
Cruise, right?
God?
Is that the voice of God? Yeah. So you've got Tom Cruise, whose next Mission Impossible is going to be breaking him out of the geriatric center.
Yeah.
You can still get these roles, but when a woman in Hollywood turns 32, now all of a sudden she's the matron. She's the, you know, the older, wiser old lady that nobody wants to take a look at anymore, as seeing, you know, well, she can't be sexy because she's old.
Unless she's Meryl Streep.
I was gonna say, or she's good looking, but then she's got to play the bitch that everyone hates.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know?
Or it's, you know, it's we're gonna take old people, we're gonna make this a geriatric love film. Like, fuck off. You know, that stuff right there. Just that whole issue, that whole thing. Just
That's why I love when like older women like Helen Mirren just show up in a bikini on the beach and like just nail it. They're just gorgeous, and everybody's like, "What? Who's that?" Yeah, it's Helen Mirren. She's in her 60s, you know.
And all that bikini stuff. Like, who wants to go to the beach and be hot and sticky and sweaty? Like, of course you're gonna wear a bikini. Like, damn. Yeah. I mean, you can cover up when you're self-conscious, and I know
I wear a bikini every time I go to the beach,
Well, I have a hard time wearing bathing suits at the beach, but I do it anyway because I don't want to be uncomfortable either. You know what I mean? And like, fuck other people. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear. I can swear.
I was gonna say, come on, we've already done it.
This is the plot hole, not MC Tune. So
I'm the quiet lurker on the channel. I don't comment or anything. I just kind of lurk. So
feel free to comment anytime. Like I said, I try to provide a channel where anybody and anybody can voice an opinion, as long as you're cool. You're not, you know, being a dick to anybody. I generally don't have a problem with people even having a little bit of heated discord. It's fine. It has to happen. But
this is my first time being on camera. Because of the topic, I just decided to be brave and put myself out there. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm sure everyone else is, you know.
Yes, me too.
I'm glad too.
Plus, I got to see your cool tattoos. So
what do we think what's the solution here? What do we got? What do we have to do to change how, you know, what can we do to change how the world sees people and how we can see ourselves?
There's go ahead.
No, you go first.
Well, there's an Instagram model that I've been following, and she's plus size. Her name is Tess Holiday, and she started a group called F Your Beauty Standards, and it's really cool. I like it, and I have her on my other screen. I don't know if it's something I can share, but or how to share, but you know, she's kind of been an inspiration for me.
Let's see. Are you not a mod?
I don't think I am.
Type something in the chat really quick and I'll fix that.
Oh, I don't have the chat up. I was just gonna share the screen. But...
Oh yeah, you want to share a screen? Absolutely. It should be share at the bottom.
Okay.
And then you can screen, and then it'll pop up. Let me know when you're ready, and we'll put it full screen.
Okay. I don't know if that'll work.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names, but Raven, you said you were going to start to say something too.
I was, and then I forgot.
You know, if I were to be honest in answering your question, Johnny, I don't like. There's things we can do, but I just don't think anything really will change. The only thing I would hope could help is people to be vocal about it. I know I brought up the men's issue, and men are always held to a certain standard as far as you gotta act a certain way, you gotta be a certain way, you can't show emotion, you can't show that you have feelings. At least that's the stereotype type thing. So as far as men, my thing would be it's okay to be open and honest. And I'm sure he won't care if I say it in the chat here, because he left a comment on the video yesterday. Tusk has mentioned a lot of things, and I think men being open about it kind of shows, hey, we're not alone in it, so we're not suffering within ourselves. And especially for youth, both male and female, for youth, if they can be open and honest about it, I think it could save a lot of lives, because unfortunately, a lot of lives are lost because of body image issues.
Yeah, and that's the worst part about it, is the suicide rates in preteens and young teenagers because of this.
Yeah. Exactly.
What are we doing to our youth by giving them these insane standards and trying to tell them that it's okay to hold them up to that? I mean, what are we doing to these kids?
Well, and that's where I was saying, I think social media has kind of played a big role into it as well.
But it's been a problem well before social media, because before, you had Teen Magazine, 17, right, and People, and all this. I guess social media is a faster way to get bombarded with that.
Right.
Well, also just the people around you, and especially in like school environments, like a lot of this happens in adolescence, and that's because the people that you're around, teenagers are brutal. They're just brutal, and there are no consequences for any of this in school, in life. Almost no parents sit there and say, I care, so I'm going to stop my kid from bullying you. Like, no, they're going to take their kid's side, and that's 99% of the time what happens. And there's no consequence for the kids that are actually doing the damage to other kids. Right. And even then, like, there are people who just don't have a voice, and they can't voice out and say that, this is happening to me. Can we do something to stop it? Because sometimes it's the people that you're supposed to be able to trust. It's supposed to be the people that love you. So who do you tell then? I mean, if you're just a kid and this is what you grow up with, then what are you really going to do? You just kind of accept it, and you live with the consequences of other people's actions.
Yep.
And me, I kind of retreated to the internet and, became a gamer, and because nobody could see me, Right. I didn't have a lot of real life friends because I didn't fit in. And, I've dated people, but they never wanted to be out in public with me. It was more of a secret, and that hurts a lot more than anything else, really.
Right. And it's, you want to say, let there be some sort of education thing in schools, but then yet it's like, then what, do you take time away from learning something else that, they consider as equally as important? What age do you start that at? Because a lot of this starts, can start at 7, 8 years old very easily. Kids see one thing different on another kid, and they start bringing it up. And if you start saying it more at the 12, 13-year-old age, where people are going through, puberty time, they've kind of already started to do these things and say these things. And what, how would you teach a class like that? Or how would you come about it? Like, you could tell kids left and right over and over again, hey, some people just can't help it because of genetics, or because of a health thing, or a gland issue or something like that. They won't care. That's the sad part about it, is if their friends are doing something, well, I want to be cool with them. I don't want to be looked at as the bad thing.
Right. Maybe starting that, though, even if it is a long-term project, when starting that seed of, hey, we shouldn't talk about people this way. We shouldn't, we shouldn't hold people up to these unrealistic standards, or we shouldn't judge people based on superficial bullshit.
Right.
Even if we don't see that immediate effect, you know, I think that's something that would, if we did it the right way, if we, you know, we put that out there and said, hey, you know, we're human beings. We all do things different. We all age differently. We all gain and lose weight differently. We all, you know, whatever. And it's not right. It's not wrong. It just is what it is. And it's getting people to, even like I said, I think catch them while they're young, you know, put it where we can get it, you know. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But then there's a bigger issue. You know, take Raven's experience.
Right.
It was her family doing it to her.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do about that then? You know, you got the family members doing it, and then that carries on to you, and you take it to school, and regardless if you feel you're trying to hide it or not, people realize, like kids, like they know you're hiding something. They know that there's something there because either you're a bit quieter than everyone else because you're already in on yourself from what's going on at home, or you just respond a different way. And so it's like, yeah, the school thing is great. It's a great idea. It's a great place to start because at least, like you said, generationally, moving forward, hopefully it won't be family members doing it to each other. But in the cases of now, what do you do if it is the family that's doing it and not kids at school?
So unfortunately, that's actually a breakdown of the system because I know 100% that I probably exhibited all of the signs of being abused throughout my childhood. And teachers are mandatory reporters. But unfortunately, you have to have a certain burden of proof to get anything involved, or you have the administration saying, there's no proof, there's no evidence, we can't just throw this out there for no reason, so shut up. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's just not fair. It's not fair to the kids. I don't think there should be an amazing amount of evidence to say, okay, someone needs to take a look at this. Because if you just talk to the kids, you're going to know. You're just going to know. You're going to feel it. It's an instinct in a lot of people. And then there are people that have the training that should go there and talk to these kids. You're supposed to have these school counselors that can help you. And they do nothing. They don't do anything. They say, well, you need to try harder.
And that's where I think school counseling shouldn't be optional. I think, you know, during certain ages, kids need to talk to a counselor, you know, and even if it's once a week or once a month as a check-in, you know, that's to have someone that they can trust.
Right. You know, that would be a good step. That's, you know, an idea of like, if you start like first grade, you know, you just go to a counselor, like, you know, say, even if it's just once a month, so that way they can cycle through the kids or something like that. It's starting to already kind of build the internalness of speaking out and being open or honest with someone, you know, and so then that way when a time comes when you do need to talk to someone like that, it's not awkward. Because you've already been doing it. You've already been going in, you know, and talking with someone who's asking you, hey, how are you doing? You doing great this week? You know, what's going on? Could you tell me about what hobbies you have or something like that?
Yeah.
Just, you know, just to get people to realize that it's okay to talk. It's okay to have conversations, and it's okay to bring things up that are difficult.
And to know that that's a normal thing and you're not there to get in trouble.
Right. That's the thing, is to normalize it. Yeah.
And to teach kids that what you experienced was abuse, and that is not normal, you know, for parents to be doing that, or for anybody to be doing that. If you have parents telling you you need to lose weight, I'm weighing you in, you know, that's abusive. And I think teachers should be able to discuss and talk to kids about what behaviors are abusive. You know,
that's a really good point too, because I didn't know what it was. I knew it was wrong and I couldn't tell anybody, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was going to do to me. Right. I had no idea. I was just like, this is wrong. I can't talk about it. That was it. That was the end of it. I had to keep it to myself. So having a trusted adult would have been good.
Yeah.
Give me a second, Brandon. I'm not the best when it comes to the old Twitters. Not because I'm old. At all.
You're younger than me.
I'm not good at Twitter either.
I'm just not good at Twitter.
I'm probably the youngest one here.
I don't Twitter.
140 characters.
I've never understood Twitter. I will never get Twitter. To me, it was like when it first came out, it was a 160 character thing. I'm like,
he's on Skydiver Tanner's youngest.
No, and I was like, I can do all this on Facebook. I already got Facebook. Why do I need to go to Twitter to type out a sentence?
I was a social media admin moderator for a large financial institution in my last job, so I had to learn Twitter and Facebook and take care of that. So
I just didn't get it, so I didn't get one. I had a Tumblr though, long time ago.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
See,
I had a live journal.
You guys are.
Oh my god, I remember that.
I understand the words that you're saying because I speak English, but I have no idea what you're talking about. What is
blogged?
Oh, okay.
It's a blog.
Okay. Yeah.
And then live journal was kind of like a blog too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're George R. Martin, then it's not a blog.
Well, if you're J.R.R. Martin, of course it's not a blog. Everything you do is art.
Brandon, I'm looking for you on this here Twitter thing, and I'm not sure if I got the right one. So I sent you a message. If that's the correct one, then let me know, and I'll send you a link.
He got an email for you in the chat.
Did he?
Yeah.
They ate an apple. Okay. All right. See, that I can do. Email. I'm hip.
Yep.
All right.
You've got mail.
He's not going to get the email.
You know what, John? No, I didn't forget it. Let's just copy. Yeah, see? Copy paste. Copy paste.
Did your internet
Yeah, he knows how to do that.
Free CD-ROMs, Johnny?
No.
The old AOL CD-ROMs.
Not at all. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure I have a floppy disk or two kicking around. I'm just saying.
I know I do. I know I got a box of floppies somewhere with some information on them.
I don't even have a floppy drive anywhere in this house. Not anywhere. Not unplugged or otherwise. But I got the floppy disks.
Somebody was talking about the whenever you hit the save button in a Word document or whatever, it's a little disc. Nobody, like nowadays, you guys as kids, what does that mean? I mean save. What is that a symbol of? It's a symbol of save. I hate all of you.
I remember having to carry we had custom cases where we'd carry 5 of those in elementary school and high school, and yeah.
I brought a floppy disk in to school and in the age of flash drives, and it was like, hey, my project's on this, can I give my presentation? And my teacher was just like, no you can't.
Well, you knew it was bad because the 5 1/4 floppies were cheaper than the 3 1/2 floppies or whatever they are. So you knew you didn't have money if you couldn't afford the hard disk floppy ones. You had to have the 5 1/4 floppy.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I'm walking to school with that while all the kids have those other ones. I'm like, what's that? It's a floppy disk. No, this is a floppy disk. No.
No.
That's an old man disk.
This is a cool one. I remember playing the Oregon Trail on those big old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was
they just re-released that to play on your iPad.
Or on your Apple TV.
Or on your Apple TV.
Is it real or is it like the modern?
No, it's real.
Like
you can die of dysentery and everything.
I know you can buy a handheld unit with just that on it, but it's like $20.
Yeah, no, this is just, I think, an iOS game.
Okay.
We had the special lab in elementary school that had the Apple IIes with the MECC software on it, where you could play all the different games and stuff.
The old boxed green screens.
Yeah.
I bet. Well, Tanner, you may have had laser discs. Did you have No, maybe.
No.
See, that's the thing.
Oh,
I had a friend who had them, and we watched.
My mom dated a guy who had a laser disc because we watched Top Gun on it.
Yeah. That we thought we were so cool. That part of my scholastic career was a podunk town out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And they would like, oh, it's time for special whatever. We're wheeling in the laser disc. Like, ooh, we're cool. Look at us, man.
We had to watch Voyage of the Mimi on Laserdisc, which was Ben Affleck's first movie. It was about the whales, and he was just a little boy.
Ben Affleck, that guy's a goof.
And I watched My Favorite Martian on Laserdisc because my dad's friend had it. That's a great movie, though.
My Favorite
Don't laugh
Martian.
at me.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing.
Oh, he's laughing at me.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
Tell him to go sell some insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, go sell some insurance.
We closed. It's 10:43.
It's 10:40. Well, we'll never close around here in Texas.
Oh, is it really? Oh, man.
Let's see. All right, Inquisitor Bacon, you have a good night. All right, so let me tell him. Link sent via email. 78 RPM discs. Yep, I remember that stuff. How about 8-track? I'm just old enough to remember the tail end of 8-track.
My aunt and uncle had them. We used to listen to Bee Gees on there. Even as a little kid, we'd put the Bee Gees in and listen to it. I think that was the only one they had.
Yep, the Bee Gees. Staying Alive, my goodness. That one didn't age well.
No.
Such a terrible joke. Such a bad joke. All right, so
Bad jokes are the best jokes.
Those are the best jokes. All right, so we've got a few more minutes. I'm going to give Brandon a little bit more time. Hopefully he can join. If not, cool. He should be here shortly, we hope. I had a thought in my head, and then it just went bye-bye. It's just getting old stuff. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not important. Not important.
But,
so body image. Go ahead.
I feel for your daughters though, because kids are just mean.
Kids are assholes.
Yeah. And you can't tell them that they're assholes because then you get detention. So.
Oh, I have told all of my kids. I said, there's a process. If they're bullying you, or picking on you, you tell them. You ask them nicely to stop. If they don't, you inform an adult, a teacher or a principal, or whatever. If the principal or teacher doesn't do anything about it and they continue to bully you, you punch them in the fucking face as hard as you can.
Yep.
And I'll deal with the negative consequences from that.
Right.
Because fuck all that bullshit. If these kids aren't going to do anything about, or these teachers aren't going to do anything about this problem, then my kids know how to break a nose.
Right.
All right, Brandon.
Hey, what's going on? Am I okay?
Good to have you. Yeah.
Okay.
So you said you wanted to come in. You had something you wanted to share. What you got?
My body image issue isn't necessarily about weight or anything. It's more about me being insecure about well, first off, how I talk and how I walk and stuff like that, because I have cerebral palsy. I don't know what people are thinking about how I walk and stuff like that. Is that somehow related? I thought it was, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's another thing that people don't take it. They don't take into consideration. It's, I don't know why, but we like to make fun of things that are different.
Yeah.
Well, I was making fun of in a joking way, and then I was making fun of in a very hurtful way.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are two different things, and I've only had the very hurtful way. I've never really, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hate that that's been part of your life, and hopefully we can all do better to make sure that we aren't those assholes that contribute to that.
People tend to be uncomfortable too with things that they don't understand. I know that that's something I've experienced, and you know, and a lot of times their defense mechanism for not understanding is to make jokes about it.
Yep.
Instead of actually asking. Yeah.
Right.
100%. And when it comes to like close friends and stuff like that, we do pick on each other sometimes. We say things about appearances or whatnot, and hopefully as close friends that they understand. But there does become like a line that's drawn. If it starts to get to a point where like, all right, you're saying it so much over and over again that now it's feeling more of an insult than it is an actual like joke or something. That's where we also need to learn to stand up for ourselves and say, it was funny at first, but now you're kind of saying it so much that it doesn't feel like comedy, or like if I make fun of Johnny's beard for being gray on the bottom half, and what do you do? Go and dip it in some like
paint.
Right, the toothpaste, when you spit it out, is it staining your beard because you don't hit the sink? And if he knows that he's joking, like I'm joking, but if I was to say it over and over again, where it's like, okay, this is getting old, and now I'm concentrated so much on it, and it's starting to bother me, then that's when we need to say something to people. And if they're our friends, if they're joking with us, they should be able to understand when we say, okay, the joke's gone a little too far, you need to back off. Your friends should be okay to be like, yes,
absolutely,
I got it.
And we had an instance like that with the Beardsman, where somebody came out and said, hey, look, I get it, there's your jokes, but it's affecting my ability to work on be creative and whatnot. And nobody in the Beardsman meant for any of that to happen. We were just trying to do what we do, right? We tear into each other a little bit, but we don't mean it's definitely not meant to be hurtful. It's not meant to be anything other than hey, we're just having a good old time. But sometimes we don't understand and we don't realize how what we say can affect people. And you should never feel afraid or ashamed to speak up.
Yeah.
And let people know how you feel. And if you got those people like, oh, you're just a little bitch, or oh, this, that, and the other, then tell them to go fuck themselves and remove them from your life, because you don't need that toxic. You don't need that negativity.
Right.
Yeah, the Nerd Angle just said in the comments that if they can't back off, they aren't your friend. And that is very, very true, because a lot of people experience that. Your friends they'll make fun of you and they'll poke fun, and then you'll say that you're uncomfortable, and then they won't stop. And then that's the moment that that you don't need that person in your life, because it's not good for you.
Yeah. There's a quote, and I'm sure the Nerd Angle will know this quote, is from Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, is never forget who you are, because other people won't. If you wear it like armor, nobody else can hurt you with it.
Oh, I know he knows that one.
You know that one.
I know that one too, yeah.
So, embrace who you are, and don't, if you yourself can make jokes about it first before they do, they won't know what to do with it, sometimes.
Yeah, it disowns them if you make fun of yourself.
And that's one thing that is definitely a way that I'm sure a lot of us have dealt with that, right? So we start tearing ourselves down before other people can do it, completely disarms them, and then they look for another target. Which is it's a good defense mechanism ish. It's a good ish defense mechanism, but at the end of the day, how do we really feel about ourselves after we've had to do that?
Right.
Yeah. And not even tearing yourself down, but just being like, yeah, so what?
Right. It's again, it's one thing. Right. Yeah, right. It's one thing to have a little fun at your own expense, whatever, and especially when you're around your friends or whatever that are just kind of ribbing you a little bit and know they mean nothing about it and whatever. But there's another thing when it's, I have to get ahead of this or they're going to tear me apart.
Yeah.
That's a messed up feeling.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, it is.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Brandon, I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
All right,
go ahead.
No, I'll go ahead and get out of here. I kind of screwed up your flow anyway.
Not
I
at
mean,
all. Not at all.
No.
No, it's good to remember that, there's other medical issues too. And, there's so many things that people are born in all kinds of different ways and shapes and,
Right.
It affects you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like you said, just because you happen to walk a little bit differently, then become very body aware and very self-conscious on things. And it's like, how am I supposed to help it? How am I supposed to walk any differently? Like, come into my shoes for a minute, then are you going to make fun of me? Are you going to pick on me? I'm already self-conscious about it. Like, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you need me to leave or anything, I will. But
No, it's not that we need you to leave. Not at all. Like I said, you're more than welcome to hang out. If you got some more you want to say, you feel free. Speak up. Anytime.
I just wanted to say something really quick about, trying to recover from something like that, and every situation is different. There are different ways that we come into it. You're born with it. It's something that you developed. It's something that was put onto you. It's something that just happened. But, it is possible to recover, and it's very, very hard to get through something like this. It's mentally jarring to think about yourself in a negative way every single day, and it's horrible to break the habit. But there is help, and there is ways to do it. You can do personal mantras. You can speak up about yourself. You can try and live a more positive and better life. You can go to therapy. You can talk to your friends, the people you love and care about, the people that care about you.
You can power pose.
You can power pose.
Right.
But,
or at least pick out like 3 things about yourself that you actually do like, and keep reminding yourself about those parts.
Or go with like the cool runnings thing. I have pride. I have power. I'm a bad mother, and I won't take no shit from nobody.
Yeah. It really is important to surround yourself with a good support system. People who are going to be there for you regardless. Have a couple of people that you can trust. I know that's difficult to find. And if somebody comes to you and needing that, and if you can't do it, that's fine. See what you can do to help, though.
Yeah.
Just in the interim. Hey, look, I'll listen to you, but I'm not really I'm not really comfortable talking about this type of thing. Perfectly okay, but here you go. Just take an extra step to help the person out for a little, just briefly. Something we can all do better to be better. And
sometimes the best thing you can do is listen.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you don't have to do anything except sit there.
Yeah.
And if you want to pour your heart out to someone, and I am always available. You can message Nerd Angle, and he'll pass on all the messages to me. And we both have a lot of experience in a lot of different things, and I'm sure that we'll have something hopefully helpful to say, or just someone to listen. Because sometimes that's what you need.
Well, yeah, and that's what I've done. I've told people, I'm like, I don't want advice. I don't want any feedback. I just need to talk. Sometimes, just sometimes to just say it out. Don't give me feedback. I'm not worried about that. I just need to say it out loud and get rid of that, and then I'm good. So it's like, even then, if someone does come to you, especially if it's a body image issue, sometimes giving advice or giving them things isn't, at least in my experience, it's not what I want to hear. It's like, I'm not venting for you to be like, oh, but you're good looking, or oh, well, maybe if you do this.
Right. Can you just let me be just about myself?
Just let me vent for right now. Just listen to me, and that's it. Because sometimes whatever advice you give me, it's not going to matter anyways. Or I've already tried it.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to say, though, that people recommending things, I'm really self-conscious about my weight. I don't weigh a lot. I think I've bottomed the scale at almost Skeletor, and I still thought I was fat. But, when I started to gain the weight back and I started to feel a lot better and I was just getting okay with my body again, and someone said, hey, you should think about a diet. And I'm like, whoa, please don't do that. And they tried to recommend to me to do something like intermittent fasting. And for me, it's glorified anorexia. It's basically giving yourself an excuse to do it. And, you know, don't do that. Don't recommend someone a diet. Don't say this worked great for me. Just don't. If they want a diet, they'll do their own research or they'll ask. Like, do not just recommend something to someone.
That's not good.
That's the worst advice in that situation. Oh, hey, I see that you put on an extra pound or two. Oh, hey, I can see you go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good response.
Just don't comment on someone's body. What the fuck does it matter anyway? I mean, just leave them alone.
You know, if you feel the need, hey, I like your shirt.
Right?
That's a nice shirt. Perfect. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm just like, I like your nails. I like your shirt. I like your shoes. Something like that. But I don't.
Johnny likes my shirt.
He does.
No, not even a little bit. I don't like.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shirt though.
It's a nice color, but it's a terrible team. I mean, just awful team.
Mine's better. It's okay. I have a Princess Bride shirt on.
That is better.
I approve of that shirt.
Guys, you should be a little bit careful. He said shirt. Don't go up to some random woman and just say, hey, that's a nice bra. That might be a little bit weird.
Might be.
That could get you in trouble.
You might get slapped.
Yeah.
What bra?
What bra? Free the
who wears a bra anymore? We're in a pandemic.
Free the nipple, right?
Right. Exactly. Not because of creepy old man shit either. Just because.
Comfort reasons, okay?
Comfort reasons, exactly.
Comfort.
All right. I think it's time for us to go ahead and wrap. It's getting late for me because, you know, I'm supposed to be going to bed at like 6 o'clock for the old man special or something.
Oh. Well, it's like 11 p.m. I have to be up in like 6 hours.
Right. So I want to respect everybody's time. I appreciate the panel coming on. Anybody have anything they want? Last words for the show?
No, that's
all right.
really.
I just want to say, thank you everyone for coming and listening, and everyone who's on the panel for saying your stories and getting it out there, and for making me realize that my tear ducts still work.
Yeah, I felt that today.
I needed to make sure that they were still working, and I'm thankful that they are. And so thank you everyone for this, and thank you Johnny again for letting me put that on there. You know, it was a fun, humorous thing on a serious topic, and I like making people laugh. I don't consider myself a comedian in any way, but apparently it was funny, so yay.
It worked, yeah. It was really awesome.
I just want to say, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Like, I feared that my whole life, and it was the biggest mistake I ever made. And please, just anyone that you think cares about you, just do it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Angel?
Thank you for, this opportunity. Like I said, this is my first time being on camera, and, thanks for everybody being nice and welcoming, and I'm glad I got brave enough to do this. So
me too,
I really appreciate
it. Skincare. I need to learn your skincare regimen, because man, that looking smooth.
She's welcome on the Raven and the Wolf.
I mean, nothing.
Right? That's usually how it is. Come on.
Let's not end the stream with some body issues. You're a Skydiver Tanner, and that's all that matters.
Also, AngelGamer, if you ever want to come on like the Raven and the Wolf, sometimes we play video games, sometimes we just chat about stuff we like. You're more than welcome to join us.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a big old nerd too, so.
Brandon, you have anything else you want to say?
No, this is cool. Thanks,
I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me on, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our show for tonight. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. If you haven't subscribed, you can do that. I'm sure you can check out all these awesome people: Skydiver Tanner, AngelGamer, the Raven and the Wolf, Brandon, all these people on the socials and the YouTubes, all that fun stuff. I'll update the link. I'll update the description with all links to everybody's channels and whatnot, so you can go check them out. Skydiver Tanner, I appreciate you making me laugh hard enough to want to actually discuss this a little more, because I think it is a very serious topic, and I hope people continue to have these discussions. you know, be good to each other. Figure out how you can be better, even if it's just in the moment. That being said, I'm Johnny O, and how do we end all plot hole videos?
Guns.
Finger guns, baby.